In Georgia in 2020, there was conflict against the police. It was due to an incident in Minnesota known as the death of an African American named George Floyd. He died in police custody after being arrested for purchasing a pack of cigarettes with a false dollar. I will speak more about this case in a future episode. This was presumed as a form of police brutality and sparked an outrage in the Black Lives Matter movement. The outrage shortly after became national. In Georgia, there was so much attention towards this movement. There was then an incident in this state. It was the death of Rayshard Brooks, another African American. He as well died after an encounter with police officers. However, he was not yet in police custody and handcuffs were never put on him. He resisted a DUI arrest, took the taser from one of the officers and ran off with it, aiming it at the two officers who had approached him. He shortly after died from gunshot wounds. I discussed this story with more details in an earlier episode. If you want to go back to that one, you can do so, then come back to this one. This death caused anger towards the police and Black Lives Matter protests started. These protests got out of control and became riots. It is easy for emotional protests to turn violent just by the actions of a few. The protest started on June 12, 2020, the night that Rayshard Brooks died. Some people who witnessed the death fled the scene but returned to protest after they saw what happened. The death had occurred outside a Wendy's restaurant. Some of these protesters brought guns with them and shot nearby cars. They set the Wendy's on fire, burning it down. They also broke a television camera. On the 4th of July, an 8-year-old girl was killed. 2 suspects tied to that murder were arrested. I will discuss this case more in a future episode. On June 13th of that year, Atlanta Police Chief Erica Shields resigned. The city's mayor, Keisha Bottoms, called for her resignation due to the increasing violence that had been occurring from the allegations against her police department. Mayor Bottoms also ordered the Atlanta Police Department to overhaul its use of force policies. A year later, on January 6, 2021, Erica Shields was elected to be the police chief for the Louisville, Kentucky Police Department. Many officers called in sick, and crime arose due to their lack of service. This was called the Blue Flu protest. From June 17th to June 20th, in a span of just 4 days, about 170 officers called in sick and chose not to work. 3 out of 6 police zones in the city of Atlanta did not respond to crimes or calls. Somebody could commit a violent crime and easily get away with it. 3 Atlanta police chiefs took cover of these empty zones. The rates of arrests in the city dropped 71%. This was all because 8 police officers were charged in 2 different incidents. The one at the Wendy's and the one at a college campus regarding people getting tased. This taser incident is another case I will cover in the near future, most likely on my other show, Blackberry Inc., as this is not a homicide case. Many police officers did not want to be unfairly charged for confronting protesters, so they chose to go on strike. The Atlanta Police Foundation then gave them a $500 bonus in their wages. For the next few months, this led officers to return to work. The riot shortly after ended. It was also confirmed that the alleged suspects accused of shooting the 8-year-old girl in a car also shot at the other vehicles passing by. The vandals accused of burning down a Wendy's and destroying a television camera were identified. They were charged and arrested. They had been arrested after surrendering to their attorney's office and Magistrate Cassandra Kirk. Kirk ordered them to remain in the Fulton County Jail until their arraignment. The trio pleaded not guilty and were released on bond, but ordered to be on house arrest while awaiting trial. They were indicted on arson charges in January 2022. Each received 2 charges of first-degree arson and 1 count of conspiracy to commit first-degree arson. Natalie and John were represented by defense attorney Drew Findlin, Chisholm by Khalil Iadi. This case was prosecuted by District Attorney Fannie Willis, who agreed to plea bargains and has been working Black Lives Matter related cases for over the years. Natalie and Chisholm took plea deals and pleaded guilty to the charges in order to avoid going to prison. The Fulton County District Judge Eric Dunway as well agreed to the plea deals. He sentenced them to 5 years of probation for one of the arson charges, a $500 fine for the other arson charge, and 150 hours of community service for the remaining charge. If they completed these sentences without committing any other crimes, their criminal records would be cleared as if they never did anything wrong. The third suspect, John Wade, was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison in another case for burning U.S. Postal Service vehicles. He was sentenced, along with his co-arsonist, to 5 years in federal prison after reaching a bargain as well. Him and his co-arsonist face more federal and state charges for going on another Black Lives Matter arson spree, burning down the city of Atlanta, including police cars. After reaching plea deals for these new cases, they as well pleaded guilty to them. 2 of them, including Wade, received another 5 years in prison. The third suspect was sentenced to about 1 year in prison, meaning that he was immediately released from the Fulton County Jail for time served. With the information I have, the state case seems to have been dismissed with the federal plea deal, but they did have to pay a fine of about $500. For the Wendy's case, it seems that Wade paid another $500. While on house arrest, he worked with federal BOP officials to decide which prison he'd go to. John Wade was then picked up by them and placed into the FCI Beckley, a federal prison in Beaver, West Virginia, where he served his prison sentence. He was released on June 24, 2024. The last suspect in the federal case continued serving his sentence after the others were released. He served his sentence at the FCI Petersburg Medium in Hopewell, Virginia, and was released afterwards on January 30th, 2025. Thank you so much for listening. Please share this episode to your loved ones, follow this podcast, like it, and have a good day. Till next time, goodbye.